Okay, I meant to make this video a couple days ago, and as you can see by the smile on my face, I need to get a haircut. Fucking, I look terrible in here, but hopefully the place of cutting my hair is opening up because me and my son look like we're about to have. I mean, this is the longest I've had. I'm not used to longer hair like this at all. I usually keep mine really short. So I can't believe I'm making this video because I'm kind of disappointed and surprised at the same time, guys. Like, really, this really surprised me. I didn't expect. Don't get me wrong. But I've had tiny coilovers. I've had BC coilovers. I've ridden in what's the name? KW. They're ridiculously expensive. I can't remember the exact. They're like 2,500 or more for the set. A lot of S2000 guys use them. And they're really, God, I can't remember the name off the top of my head. I hate when this happens all the time. Every time I do a video, I forget the names. Anyways, I've ridden some really good coilovers. So when I bought the Truharts, I expected them to be decent, but not crazy. You know, they don't have damper adjusters or anything like that, at least for the CRV. They're very well built. They're decent. They look great. I love the way they look. And the level of adjustment is wonderful. Now, I have Maxspeedingrods coilovers just because I grabbed them for cheap. I had them on my old CRV that I sold, 5-speed 98. If you look at my Instagram, you'll probably find it. And if you go down quite a bit, it was I did it OD green, which is the military green. And I didn't drive that much. Literally put them on there, bam, cleaned that car up and turned around and flipped it. So I didn't say anything about them then. Other than their build quality wasn't that bad. For freaking $200 coilovers at that time, I think I paid $200 or $250. I got them on my Prelude. I got a steal because they made a mess up, and I got them for $80 brand new on my Prelude. And then I got them for my wife's CRV just to cheaply lower it for the time to see if we were getting better gas mileage and do that, and because she was driving it more before it was hit. So I got a set of orange ones on here and a set of blue ones, you know, because the orange on the Prelude were $80, and I was like, hell yeah, I'm not passing up like yellow orange. And then I got blue because that was kind of the scheme I was going for, and I was like, cool, they come in different colors. I can tell you from all the coilovers I had, they are awesome for bang for your buck. You may see all these people saying all this shit about them, but one, you got to take account they're cheap. They're cheap coilovers. You're getting more than what you pay for on Maxspeedingrods. Really, you are. You're getting, and from their collars to the collars for locking, collars for adjusting. They're just as nice as the Truhart, if not some of the better ones, like the BC coilovers. I would say, of course, are better. I spent $1,000 on it, but to me, BC coilovers I spent $1,000 on for my Odyssey, and I had a buddy that had them in his S2000. Were nowhere near worth that money. That was like paying for the fucking name, I felt. Honestly, I had a BC coilover blow out on me on my Honda Odyssey. The ride was rough even with dampering adjusters. The customer service they weren't horrible, but they're kind of pain. It took them almost 2 months to get my new strut out. They tried to argue with me when I had all my proof receipts, everything, my warranty was in the time frame. Then finally they came around and did what was right. But it was kind of stupid for spending $1,000 on some fucking coilovers. Don't get me wrong, there's better ones to spend the money on. But just for riding around, I was kind of pissed with that. So I haven't went back to BC at all for anything. Not that I wouldn't, depending on what they got. I'm just saying is kind of put a bad taste in my mouth. But I cannot believe I'm saying this. To get to the conclusion here, and I'll go more into it after. My Maxspeedingrods coilovers for my CRV, my automatic one out there, ride way fucking better than my Truhart coilovers. My Truhart coilovers ride like shit. I hate to say this because I like Truhart, but I feel like I'm on early 2000 cheap eBay sleeve coilovers bouncing the fuck around. And I didn't mess with the preload, anything. I adjust them. I'm riding on thinner tires, you know, low pros on 18s. It's going to make the ride a little bit rougher. Trust me, guys. I had low pros on. If you go look at my green '99 Honda Odyssey, I had 17 SI wheels, and the ride with the BC coilovers damper was a little bit rougher. And then I put on my stock wheels with my bigger tires, the OEM tires, and the ride was a tad bit better. It wasn't a huge difference. It was a little bit better because, of course, you got more tire to absorb, but it wasn't a gigantic difference. The difference between the Maxspeedingrod coilovers and the Truhart coilovers is insane. And here's the thing, I also messed with the preload. There's no preload basically anymore on the Maxspeedingrod coilovers. The thing that sucks about it, if they could fix this, I honestly would probably go with them for more vehicles over like Truhart, Yonaka, things like that. And even my Yonaka coilovers were good on my S2000. I'll say they weren't bad. They weren't nowhere near as bouncy as the Truhart. But for that price, I would probably go with the Maxspeedingrod coilovers. I'm serious. I really am surprised. The thing that sucks about them is that, I've noticed this on the CRVs and I noticed this on the Prelude, and I've heard about it from the Integras, the Civics, stuff like that. Something's wrong, and I wonder if this is why they're so cheap. I wonder if they did a big mold of coilovers. They made them all, and then they just fucking threw them all together, boom, sent them out the door, and they're like, oh shit, fucking our our fronts are almost higher than stock with the preload set and everything. Even when you go as low as you can go, if you're trying to keep the preloaded spring and you go as low as you can go on a max speeding, it pretty much sits stock height. In fact, I think it's set a little bit higher on the Prelude. My Prelude still sits too high in the front for me, and I have the spring completely down. The coilover's like this, spring to coilover. And I haven't got to ride the Prelude as much, but I can still say from driving down the road to gas station stuff, because I got to figure out what's wrong with it. It's not as bouncy as my Truhart coilovers on the Lude. On the CRV, it rides seriously decent. I cannot believe, don't get me wrong, it's not perfect. There's a little bit of bounce, but when you bounce, you get that coming back down on the struts. It's nice. You slow down. You know what I mean? You're not like boom, 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 bouncing down the road. Those Truhart coilovers, it's like every bump, 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 everywhere I go. It is horrible. It is the most uncomfortable ride. It really reminds me when I was fucking around and I was broke and I was like, fuck this. I have a little 95 Civic. I was like 20 years old. And I was like, I'm going to order these cheap eBay coilover sleeves and throw them on there. And they were like $50 and drove around on them. And you expected that, you expected the bouncing and stuff. With a good strut, they actually weren't as horrible as I thought once I replaced better struts. But I can't believe at the end, I'm going to end it here. And if you have more questions, ask in the comments. Reach me out on Instagram, CRV_Tom. I cannot believe, I am going to say, if Maxspeedingrods coilovers had better adjustment in the front, I would pick them all day over my Truhart coilovers. I'd pick them all day over my Yonaka coilovers for my S2000. Not saying Yonaka was really decent for the price, honestly. It was the same price as Truhart, and they're way better. I would say the ride quality was way better. Now this was on my S2000. And the Truhart are on my CRV. So, again, I'm not knocking Truhart. On all of their products that have been great. Their tow arms, their control arms, their rear camber kit. I have had no problem with Truhart. Their build quality hasn't been bad. I love the way everything adjusts and works on these. They're just a horrible ride. A really bad ride. I watched a video of another guy. I can't remember. I wish I could... I don't know if I could tag this video in my video down in the comments or bio for YouTube, because I don't know if there'll be any kind of bullshit in between, doing that. But there's a guy on the Facebook page, if you can find it. I can't remember his name. He has a nice, very clean white CRV like mine. It's lowered. I think he's somewhere in New York or around there, and or actually California. I think he's in California. And he had a video done with the guys doing it. It was pretty nice on the channel. And And if you watch when they're riding, he's talking about a CRV, they're just bouncing in this thing. And he's on Truhart coilovers. He tries to say they're on function form coilovers. I think he tries to say, but they lower down and look, it's straight Truhart coilovers. It says it right on it. So I don't know if that was just a mistake by him and he meant to, he's changing them up or something. But yeah, during that video, they go under the car, they look at the suspension. He's on Truhart coilovers. It says it right there. And as you just watch, he's bouncing all over the place. The video, everything. I don't know why they're so bouncy. I'm going to end with this, though. I wonder, because they have so much flex, I think, in the spring in the thing, if they would be good for lifted. Most coilovers usually are not because you're so stiff and you have no flex. I actually wonder if you lift these up. And I think they used Truhart coilovers on the 1321 when they lifted it. I know... yeah, it was 1320. 1320 that used Truhart coilovers on it when they were doing the exhaust, the mounts, the lift, and they did a lifted CRV, I believe. If you lift it with this, I'm interested. So if anybody is lifted on Truhart coilovers, let me know, because I'm kind of interested if it would actually be kind of a decent ride and you'd get some extra lift out of it. I am actually interested in that, because lowering, I have to say, honestly, when time comes, or if a good deal comes by, I might switch to a different coilover, because they are really a bouncy ride. Not what I want, especially like going into corners or anything like that. Kind of disappointed in that, because I liked everything from Truhart. So yeah, that's just my 2 cents on there. You guys can, try out for yourself, but honestly, all the hate that Maxspeedingrods coilovers are getting, if you're okay with messing with the preload, you're gonna have to mess with the front. Or if you just want a good set of coilovers, and you just want to go a little low, or even just replace your struts, for the same price, they're not bad. I really, really mean this, guys. I was seriously surprised on how well they ride for the price. So I just want to let you guys know that, and I have them, and I've road tested both of them. So if anybody doesn't believe me, I got pictures, everything. I can walk around the vehicles and do that and show you. Hell, I may even do a video with my little suction cup thing on the windshield and just drive around and let you see how much it bounces between the two. But all right, guys, have a good one. I figure if you got any questions, hit me up in the comments.